Hello, lovely humans. So wonderful to see you. Let it happen. Your legs are shaking. Your breath feels like stars are snowflakes exiting your lungs. But this transition is like the many you've experienced before. The sudden existence in a body, the desperate tunnel from warm, dark, and close, to the infinite bright space you now think of as the only world. You are made for change. Let this change happen too. Thank you. So when I was putting this set together, I was thinking about where do poems come from? And I noticed that different ones came from different practices. So I'll kind of go along saying what the different practices were. And, you know, if you are interested in writing poetry, or if you have a poetry practice, maybe you want to try some of them and let me know how it went. It's really fun, some of the things. But since Arthur shared a pantoum, I also wrote a pantoum. It's not as rhyming or repeating exactly as yours were, but this was this is called Recipe for Hamburgers, 1985, and it's based on how my mom still makes hamburgers. Get the teriyaki sauce from the fridge. Only mom knows how to make the teriyaki sauce, and only with her special container. Form the ground beef into patties. Only mom knows how to make the teriyaki sauce, and she calls the ground beef hamburger. Place the patties in the baking pan, already covered with tinfoil. Mom calls the ground beef hamburger, and the teriyaki sauce has no sugar. All baking pans are already covered in tinfoil. All meat is teriyaki, except for fish. The teriyaki sauce has no sugar. Mom grates ginger and garlic, pours sherry and shoyu. All meat is teriyaki, except for fish. Mom knows the proportions, measured by the container. Mom grates ginger and garlic, pours sherry and shoyu. Pour teriyaki sauce on the patties until it's enough. Mom knows the proportions, measured by the container. The kids from school eat hamburgers at McDonald's. Pour teriyaki sauce on the patties until it's enough. Bake the patties until they're done. The kids from school eat hamburgers at McDonald's. Remove from oven, serve with rice. True story.
Yeah.
So that one was created, I think when Amanda Williamson was Cupertino Poet Laureate, she did a poetry memoir class. And I know I thought about the hamburgers in that class, but I'm not sure if I wrote the class. But working with form is one of the ways that's really fun to get poems. And so I'll do one, which is not on my list, but it's really short. When we went to Ireland last year for the first time in generations, because my dad has never been. My great-grandfather came from Ireland to the United States, and we got to go with 39 O'Learys and see the farm that he was from that's still in my family. And totally unrelated. So the tour guide has write limericks because we went to Limerick, and this is the one that I wrote. There once was a spoon from Cork who wanted to be a fork. He asked a kind witch if she'd help him to switch, but the best she could do was a spork. All right, this one's a little more serious, but not too serious. This is also based on a true story. I was in San Francisco, and there was this cat who was doing what it says in this poem. Oh, and I have to think about the time. What time am I supposed to stop? No, but what time am I supposed to stop? Tell me what time I'm supposed to stop.
When you're done. When you're done.
It's like the hamburgers. I knew it. We'll keep a little bit of an eye on it. What it's like when you're not home. The cat spends his day calculating his jump to the fire escape from the 4th-story window, stretches his neck out at 10 o'clock after everyone's gone to work. At 11, a paw, his leg curves around the corner, contemplating a scramble to the adjacent window ledge. Perhaps he can make the fire escape from there. His boot bats the air. He turns to slink inside again, returns at 3 to gaze down on cars and pigeons, then back to the fire escape, the stark mathematics of body and brain, and fear if cats feel fear, the long rush of wind and the pavement. At 6, the inner door will open. A woman in black slacks will give him his dinner and ask, "How was your day?" "Mine was terrible," she'll say, without waiting for him to answer. All right, so I'm going to do this first. This is my book. That's the best cover ever. Your writing matters because your writing matters. And the subtitle is 34 Quick Essays to Get Unstuck and Stay Inspired. So I made this book to kind of be your friend as you live the writing life, because, you know, it's always there. I'm not always there. Your regular friends, your human friends are not always there, but a book is always there. And I have had many books be there for me. And this one I want to give you, it's going to give you a little present, which is a real present that you can keep. Oh, but the other thing I wanted to say, I noticed that various of these poems have references to Catholicism. And I'm not trying to convert you, but I was raised Catholic by a Buddhist. And I still consider myself Catholic, but my true religion is literature. Accept the magic of imagination. This is an essay, so just, you know, I tried to pick a poetic one, and it's about a poetry reading. Accept the magic of imagination. When I was a kid at St. Lucy's Catholic Church, the altar boys used to ring a little golden bell when the priest raised the host. I watched from my wooden pew and wondered if that was the moment when the miracle happened, when the host changed from bread to the body of Christ. Because otherwise, why did they ring the bell? They don't ring it anymore. I know they used to, because my ears still vibrate with its sound. But actually, I had forgotten the bell until I went to a poetry reading. The poet described his experience as an altar boy waiting for the time to ring the bell. The other altar boy, his rival, could ring the bell so beautifully that you knew it worked, that the bread always transformed. The action of the poem happens when it's the boy's turn to ring, and you experience with him the buildup of anxiety as the priest raises the host up, up, up. And finally, at the apex, he has to ring the bell, and it doesn't make the magic sound, but instead goes all wonky and wobbly. The poet gave a brilliant performance, and you really believed that he was the altar boy trying to ring the bell to transform the bread into body, and failing, just as we all fail. Just as we all think we fail at the things we care most about. Maybe that's why the church stopped ringing the bell, because it makes people believe that something humans do is what's changing the host. And the whole point is that it's not what we do, that the ritual is not the magic, that God is the magic. Now, maybe you don't believe in any God, or you don't believe in the Catholic God, but please still listen to me, because I'm not trying to convert you. I'm just making an analogy. The ritual is not the magic. Rituals can help you with your writing. For example, Isabel Allende uses the ritual of lighting a small candle and writing until it burns out. But the ritual is not the magic. The ritual is a container for the magic. It may be necessary, but it is not sufficient. And there are many rituals and practices that can work. The magic comes from somewhere else. I call it the place. You can't control the magic. You can only invite it. You can only make your house ready for it. And then you have to step back and accept that you've done your part. You have to relax and let the guest come in. At church, we hold up the bread, we ring the bell. But the miracle happens through no action of our own. The miracle comes from God, comes by grace, whether we deserve it or not. The miracle of imagination is the same. The gift. Try this improv exercise, adapted from Patricia Ryan Madsen, from her book, Improv Wisdom, Don't Prepare, Just Show Up. Okay, so really do it, because it's gonna be great. So go ahead and close your eyes if you're willing. And imagine a closed box, a gift for you. Let yourself accept the box that has already popped into your mind. Let yourself notice its details, its size, its shape. Is it wrapped? Does it have a ribbon? Hold the box in your hands and feel its weight. Now, imagine yourself opening the box. Let yourself find the gift inside. What did you find? It's yours to keep and use, and I wish you the joy of it. So go ahead and remember what that is. And I hope you'll tell me later, because I love to hear what people get. But maybe you'll use it soon. This is continuing the essay. Accept the gift. Who puts the gift in the box? Not you. The gift comes from the place. When you're writing, remember this. You don't have to make it up. You only have to accept what's in the box and write it down. Sometimes you might want to refuse it, saying, I don't know what's in there, or I can't think of anything. But try not to be afraid. Remember that you don't make the gift. Stephen Pressfield, the author of The War of Art, says that his religion is this: no matter how many times you open the box, there's always something inside. We are surrounded and interpenetrated by love and support, always. You think you breathe all by yourself? No, the atmosphere breathes you. It's the pressure of the air outside that pushes air into your lungs. Our own agency is nothing compared to the forces that continually support and help us. Imagination is not ourselves. The gift comes from the place. All you have to do is accept it. So now we can go back to poetry. I have a little series of poems that are related to reading poetry. This one is called Reading Alturas de Machu Picchu, which you should totally read. If you read Spanish, read it in Spanish. It's amazing. If you don't read Spanish, find a translation. It's a crime to translate Neruda, but it's a worse crime not to translate him. So whatever language you can get, read it. So amazing. Reading Alturas de Machu Picchu. Neruda addresses the stone city as a person. He subido hasta ti. I read in my lowest voice, Alex's head on my shoulder, his hands limp and forgotten in his lap, his eyes closed. He looks like a child, his cheek round and smooth, like leavened bread, his face open. Our unused wine glasses shine in Neruda's light. Rosa de piedra, pan de piedra. Alex's real name is Alejandro. He remembers Spanish only as a sound, the echo of his grandmother's voice. Santa Maria, Madre de Dios, ruega por nosotros. He begs me to read out loud to him and not tell him what it means. What in this world is perfect? That's a this poem used to have a different title, but I took the title instead from the Mary Oliver poem that is mentioned in the poem. Alex calls me on his lunch break sometimes, and lately I've been reading him poetry. It reminds us that life is full of beauty, gives us a break from the meaninglessness of our 9-to-5 suburban commute lives. I think the reason we fantasize about moving to the Aegean is that we want the outside world to seem the same as the inside one, sun-washed and romantic, full of promise, like these poems. It's called The Pawns, I begin, but he interrupts me, saying, you know, poetry is like a drug. We use it to change how we feel, the way we used to do with alcohol or whatever else. We use it to avoid the world, to live in a different world. I think of the book I am reading on mindfulness meditation. You're right, I say. Maybe we should be living our life how it is, instead of trying to change it all the time. A pause. But anyway, here's this poem by Mary Oliver. And as my son would say, many years later, what gives you hope? In some sense, wouldn't it be better to still be reading Mary Oliver? All that light and snow, wild geese, the walnut tree she saves year after year, even though its wood could pay the mortgage. But instead, we turn over in our sleep. In separate beds, the book's hard corner pressed into each our faces is Charles Bukowski. I had another essay that I wanted to read to you. This is The Real Life of Fiction. Whenever I ask the question, how shall I live? I always look to literature for the answer. But this time, the answer came in a dream. The dream took place in an auditorium, an old one, like the Century movie theaters in San Jose, a huge domed room with plush maroon carpet that matched the seats. Some of the seats held members of my writing group. We were there because our fellow member, Anthony, was going to read an excerpt from his novel, and I was supposed to introduce him. I was standing on a wooden stage behind a podium. This was a writing conference titled The Real Life of Fiction. I had notes, but they didn't help. I babbled. I forgot the title of the novel. I forgot the name of the conference. At one point, through the haze of my stammering incompetence, I saw clearly for a moment, in the front row, a woman with curly hair and Coke bottle glasses that could only belong to one of my favorite authors. Oh no, I thought. Not only am I messing up, but Connie Willis is seeing it. I was holding a copy of Anthony's book, a yellow-edged pocket paperback, the old kind that maybe a Frederick Pohl novel would be inside of. The cover too matched that golden age of science fiction style. White block lettering arcing over an orange and ochre sunset that led up to a sky full of stars. It wasn't one of the novels Anthony has actually published, but in the dream I'd read it. The microphone was from the 1930s. Its metallic workings distorted my voice. The audience stared at me. Connie Willis's glasses stared at me. I kept talking, even though I had forgotten the name of the conference and the title of the novel. Then I remembered to say that Anthony writes like the cinema. I tried to explain what that meant, and my words made no sense. But I realized that since Anthony was about to read from his novel, I didn't have to explain. I said, "You'll see in a minute anyway. I don't have to tell you." I stepped down as Anthony stood up. I walked toward the seats as he made his way to the podium, a twin copy of the novel in his hand. He smiled and thanked me as we passed. I'd done a terrible job, but I was happy because it was the best I could do. I'd babbled and stammered, but I'd said what mattered, that the conference was important and that Anthony writes like the cinema. and that we worked together in our writing group. After I sat down, I remembered I was supposed to have said more about the writing group, that someone had told me I should use this opportunity to advertise it. Oh, well, I thought, next time. What is the real life of fiction? Here's my answer. I am not content to read fiction or even to write it. I will not be satisfied unless I live it. I want my life to be a story, which means I have to transcend myself and do what matters in the critical moment. But there is no shortcut, and sometimes you can't do what maybe you should do or what you see other people can do. At my writing group, I see Betsy just do things she thinks might work, like run a crowdfunding campaign. I see David just write novel after novel as though he has every right to do it. I even see myself posting videos that I hope no one will watch, but that a year ago I wouldn't have even dared to record. Sometimes your skills aren't where you wish they were. Sometimes you don't know the story you're living, but that's no excuse to avoid action. You have to do what you can, because that is the only way to ever be able to do something that matters. The videos I make next year will be better, but only if I make these videos now. There is a connection here to literature, to mythology, to Orpheus and Odysseus and Leopold Bloom, because we are all just trying to do something that matters, and we can't do it most of the time. But still, sometimes we can, and that's the part that all the other times are for. That's the part that makes our lives a story. What is the real life of fiction? It's the real life of the times when we can. It's the times when we can't, all condensed into a single scene. It's the maroon carpet seats in the Dome Theater and the echo of an old microphone. It's everything you do so that you can do the one thing that matters. It's the one thing shining and then passing away. Do what you can and do it now. The real life of fiction is the real life of real life. So one of the other ways that actually, I had a dream and then I wrote about it, and it, after many iterations, turned into that, including my editor helping a lot. But something that doesn't have a lot of iterations is poetry postcards. So I participate in the Poetry Postcard Fest, which is run by Cascadia Poetics Lab. And every year you can sign up. You can sign up right now, which I didn't remember to put the link, but I'm sure you can find it, Poetry Postcard Fest. Yeah, my bouquet. And they send you a list of 31 names and addresses, and you write a poem on a postcard and you send it to each of these 31 people, and they all send you one too. So you get 31 poems on postcards in the mail, and you send 31 poems on postcards. And the thing that's so great about it is that you have to just keep on making a new poem. So you realize that there's important moments, or there's important moments in your life happening all the time that maybe you weren't really paying attention to. When sometimes I do, I write, I do a haiku practice. Like Larry, I know you write haiku. And while I'm doing that, I'm like, oh, there's haiku moments all the time. Wow. If only you just noticed them. So I'm going to read a few of these. The Postcard Fest is over, but with a friend we write weekday mornings, and she did it too, and we wanted to keep the practice. So we read one on Mondays. So I'll read a couple. Sometimes you don't know what you're getting into with these. This one kind of scared me. Washing towels. The hot water rushes into the cylinder, and all the towels squish down low, attempting to escape. They can't, of course. The washer's metal drum is watertight and therefore towel tight. Sorry, towels. You will be soaked. You will be drowned. You will be agitated and spun. Then, worst of all, into the dryer, where you'll be made to seem like nothing ever happened. Don't feel bad for your towels, or do, I guess. Yeah, I'm a mom also, so there's this kind of things. The ones that I actually wrote during the postcard fest were full of crows, because I would write them in the morning. They were full of like redwood tree and the morning things that happen. And somehow these ended up about little domestic things. Stuffed animals proliferate on the bed, on the couch, expanding their volume like popcorn, exponentially filling the living room, filling the bedroom, filling the hallway, the drawers, the bathtub, overflowing with fluffy, cute, colorful bears, dogs, cats, hyenas, axolotls, pouring out the doors as they begin to repopulate the earth. Okay. Looking like we're getting towards the end here, right? I'll just do one last one and then we can have the open mic. Oh, but I wanted to show you guys. Okay. I'm allowed to do this, right? We just so remember how I love the cover? It's got quilling on there, which is you roll up little pieces of paper and glue them down, and it makes these amazing things, which I have tried it, but I'm not amazing at it. But the artist who did the book cover, Julia Masick, is amazing at it. And she's also an amazing calligrapher. And we are doing a Kickstarter to fund postcards with her quilling and calligraphy with quotes from my book. So this is a prototype. And then Rob put the Kickstarter link in the chat if you are interested in helping us produce these postcards, and you'll get rewards, one of which is me sending you one of the postcards with a handwritten message on the back. And then, of course, the set of postcards, which there's 4 of them, and you'll get 2 of each. And then if we raise enough money, we can also have greeting cards, because I know some people like greeting cards better. Because it says, I don't remember what essay it's in, you deserve to create what's in you to create. And I truly believe that. So if you believe that too, help us create this, and then you can send these to people who you want to encourage. And this poem is kind of related to that, like when you're feeling the frustration of wanting to create something or be someone who you can see yourself could be, but you're not there yet. This one's from a dream too, actually. When I was reading a lot of Rumi. Cultivate your bird self. In the years before rain, you long for the lake to fill. You try to fill it with your wanting. The lake won't fill with your will, but still you stand there trying. Cultivate instead your bird self, the long-legged heron who knows the craft of waiting. A bird floats on the water and rises with it. Your heavy self could drown in spite of all its wishing. Cultivate your bird self. Finally, the lake will fill. The bird will lift you on those waters. Then you'll reach the tops of even the highest longed for hills. Thank you.